Hello everyone, back to today's second video. So we're doing the 5-day forecast. You can find the video tab here on the homepage. Just scroll down a little bit. It'll be underneath the link add unit. So it's on the homepage. It's also a written version, which you can get to via the buttons at the top of the page. Going to be quite a settled 5 days for the south, a little bit more unsettled for the north. Eventually going to turn very warm by Monday. Have a look, 5-day forecast, see more about that. This is BCC Wednesday, so we're going to be having a look at the next 40 days with the Beijing Climate Centre. It's going to take us well into September, going to the second half of the first month of autumn 2016 with this particular update. So before I get on with that, just to say about the ads that Gazmo is, there's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in, and thanks very much for doing that. There's video ads to most of the pages. They own content when you watch the make close back up again. It's all helping to pay for our website. So we'll start on 500 millibar height anomalies. These broke down to 10-day periods. Then we'll go on and have a look at the corresponding temperature and precipitation anomalies and see what's doing. So starting off with 500 millibar height anomaly for the next 10 days, this takes us from the 11th through to the 20th of August. Now with these charts, red, orange extrapolates to high pressure, brighter colours, blue extrapolates to low pressure. So for the next 10 days, the anomaly shows that we've got a ridge around and generally slightly to the west-southwest of the UK, with a trough generally to the north. Remember, this is transitional. We're starting off quite cool and then we're going warmer for a time at the start of next week, and then maybe a bit cooler again at the end of next week. So once you add it all together, this is the anomaly that you come up with. But there is quite a lot of changing within this 10 days. So always bear in mind with anomalies that it's just an anomaly for a defined period, but it doesn't rule out the chance of changes in between periods, if you like, for a few days. And when you're looking at a month ahead anomaly, for example, you could get 3 weeks that's quite similar, and then a 4th week that's very, very different, that kind of thing. So it's always worth bearing that in mind when you're dealing with any anomaly, be it height, temperature, or precipitation. It doesn't give you the whole story a lot of the time. Anyway, that is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the next 10 days. Ridge very close to the UK. You expect quite a lot of dry weather with that, and fairly warm overall, I would have thought. We go through to the next 10-day period, and signs that we're taking the above average heights up towards Greenland and Iceland then, and heights are lowering to the south. So it's a weak signal, but I would have thought this is probably turning more unsettled through this final 10 days of August, maybe bringing back some rain, probably turning a bit cooler as well. It's not a dramatic flip, but it is, I think, turning cooler and more unsettled there for the final 10 days of August. We go through to the first 10 days of September, the 31st of August to the 9th of September. Quite interesting what's going on with this one, because we're bringing in a trough of low pressure at below average heights generally to the UK. There's a ridge down across Spain, but actually that looks quite unsettled, bringing the jet stream through the country. This is normally quite a settled period. Early September, I've spoken about this before in other videos. The early part of September normally has a lot of high pressure influences, but for the Beijing Climate Centre this week anyway, it is showing a more unsettled interlude there for the first 10 days of September. And then we go through to the last 10 days, which is days 31 to 40, which goes from the 10th of September through to the 19th. And still above average heights to the north, so that's a bit of a theme as we're going into September. Quite a bit of ridging to the north, trough of low pressure underneath it. That still looks quite unsettled, I would have thought. The difference is that we have got some ridging around Scandinavia, so we could be getting winds turning into the east with that. Which of course in middle of September is not going to be all that warm, but it won't be cold. But this area of low pressure for trough is underneath it, so that could be bringing more unsettled conditions into south. Quite a complicated one now, quite untypical of what we tend to get in September. So this is looking like quite an untypical pattern that the Beijing Climate Centre is going for this September. Fair amount of northern block, which is unusual in September. At least hints that low pressure won't be all that far away, which probably means a more unsettled month. So let's have a look at temperature precipitation anomalies the next 10 days. So this is the first 10 days of the period, going from the 11th through to the 20th of August. That one comes out generally a bit warmer than average. And of course, this is up and down. It started off quite cool now. We're going to go really quite hot early next week, and then cool down later next week. Averaging it all out, it generally comes out warmer than average. Not a very hot week, but certainly above average temperatures being signalled there for the next 10 days. The second 10 days, which goes through to the end of the month, it looks a bit more unsettled on the height anomalies. In fact, the temperatures holding up quite nicely, so no problems there. Temperatures generally still generally above average. The next 10 days, which is the first 10 days of September, look quite unsettled. And that one's close to norm, but maybe a little bit cooler, especially in the west of the country. So I think first 10 days of September perhaps going a bit cooler then. And then we go through to those middle 10 days of September, which is the 10th through to the 19th. The temperatures are generally a little bit above average once more. So overall, no problems with the temperatures, really. They're more or less holding up, average to above average, just a bit cooler early part of September. Precipitation anomalies for coming 10 days, which is, again, the 11th through 20th of August, days 1 through to 9, generally coming out, or days 1 to 10, generally coming out very slightly drier than average, especially for England and Wales. Quite a dry 10 days there. It is wetter up to the north. We go through to the 21st to the 30th of August, again close to average temperatures, maybe even hinting at being a bit drier than average, but I think it's more unsettled there, so that's probably transitional, going from a warmish and quite settled spell, perhaps early in the period, to something a bit cooler and more unsettled later on. The next 10 days, this is the first 10 days of September, the 31st of August through to the 9th of September, lot more unsettled. The height anomaly confirms it, goes wetter than average, quite significantly so actually, those first 10 days of the new month. Excuse me. And then we go through to the final 10 days, days 31 to 40, which is the 10th through 19th of September, and it's going drier again for that period, although still hints of being a bit wetter than average out to the west. It does look a more unsettled September, perhaps, than we tend to expect. September is often a very settled month. Just hints, I think, there that it could be a bit more unsettled. In terms of August, looks like temperatures can hold up quite well, but probably turning more unsettled with time as we get through towards the end of the month, and that carries through in towards the start of September. Remember, long-range forecasting is always highly experimental. These long-range models are pushing the envelope of what's possible. Generally, you can only go 5 to 7 days out reliably, and not even that far in some situations. Beyond that, getting through to 10 days out, the model reliability falls a lot, and then beyond that, it really is pushing the boundaries of what these models are able to do. So always remember, don't take any of this too seriously. That's what I was looking for this week's Beijing Climate Centre update. We won't be doing it next Wednesday. I'm having a few days off next week from Monday to Friday. I'm going to be away, hoping to be able to keep the written part of the website updated, but I probably won't be doing any videos next week, or certainly through the working week, Monday to Friday next week. So the Beijing Climate Centre update will return 2 weeks today. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.